Holy crap, guys. You know what that means. Yes, we are starting one of my favorite Pokemon games ever on this channel. For those of you who do not know, this is also one of the hardest Pokemon games, and I've kind of stepped away from doing it, despite people asking me to, just because of its sheer unfair difficulty. But today is the day. I am not backing out anymore, because I want to dive into the nostalgia that is Pokemon Stadium 2 for the Nintendo 64. Yes, this is a Let's Play series that has been literally 2 years in the making. 2 for Pokemon Stadium 2. It's kind of corny, but whatever. And we are finally going to start with this new series, and I'm so happy to do this. Mostly because all the new Pokemon we get to play with, and hey, look at this. Instead of just, a boring menu, they actually kind of spice it up a little bit. There's event battles, battle now, and we can even go to White City, which apparently is governed by a giant Slowking. So let's just dive into his belly, and oh, look at all the new buildings! We got a new gym leader castle, we got new mini games, we got school, which I'm not really too big of a fan of, but yeah, and even the Game Boy Tower. We can even go to our room. There's so much to do in Pokemon Stadium 2. We're going to be doing it all. We're going to be doing it all. Probably except the Pokemon Academy, though, because that is a tiny bit boring. But the first thing that we have to do in Pokemon Stadium 2 is go to a Pokemon Stadium. Now, what are the Pokemon Stadiums this time? Well, we have the Little Cup, which still remains its single tournament, and it's really stinking annoying, and I don't like it. We have the Poke Cup, which is pretty much just the basic thing. The Prime Cup, which is by far the most difficult, and has legendary Pokemon that shouldn't even be in the game, but we'll get into that in future episodes. And this time, replacing the Pika Cup from before is the Challenge Cup. Now, the Challenge Cup basically just gives you 6 random Pokemon, and you have to clear the levels. Basically that easy. At first. There are 4 segments. The only cup that does not have 4 levels in it is the Little Cup. If memory serves me right, I'm gonna feel really stupid if it's not, but enough of me talking about these stinking cups. Let's dive into the first stadium that you probably should tackle, which is the Poke Cup, Pokeball. Now here's the thing about Pokemon Stadium 2. You'd be thinking, oh man, look at all these good Pokemon and their terrible movesets. Yes, most of the Pokemon in Pokemon Stadium 2 have downright terrible movesets, so you basically have to know which ones to pick. But we gotta go, my man, Charizard. We got an Azumarill and a Charizard that's looking pretty good. I kind of have a rough idea of what Pokemon are basically usable for each cup, so early on we should be okay. There shouldn't be too many random factors stopping us from clearing these early levels. And I probably should have prepared a team from the beginning, but it's fun to just look at all these Pokemon and, just see how they look in HD. Not really HD, but on the big screen. Well, back in a couple of years ago it was HD, I guess. More than a couple. Let's see. We got Raikou, who, yes, I am going to be using legendaries. If that bothers you, I'm very sorry. That's just how I like to play. We could get a Zapdos, but we already have an oh boy, Wobbuffet. For those who don't know, he's basically the saving grace in this series. If it wasn't for the introduction of Wobbuffet, you'd have a pretty rough time beating this game. And alright, let's see. I'm just going to browse what Pokemon, well, yeah, we probably do need a Psychic type. I'm going to grab Kadabra, which I guess is kind of a staple in my Let's Plays. I was always using Kadabra. And who should we pick last? There's a new fighting type introduced in this second generation, so we might as well pick him. So we got Hitmontop, Azumarill, Donphan. Pretty much just first-gen Pokemon. Later I will be showing off more of the new Pokemon in the series, but for right now, we're just going to be using these guys. And first up, we're going against Bugcatcher Nelson. For those who don't know, every cup has 8 trainers. You gotta beat all 8 of them to proceed, and, well, basically you get the trophy. And this guy has mostly bug types, which Charizard will completely decimate. He has also a bunch of poison types, so Kadabra should do pretty good right there. And, I guess Raikou can come too. I mean, he'll hit those flying types. And yes, this is a very, different series from what I'm sure you're used to. This is basically just a chillax game from my childhood. Back in the day, I couldn't really afford Game Boy games, and the only system I had at the time was a Nintendo 64, so I happened to play a lot of this game. Was never really good at it, never made a lot of progress, but I just loved seeing all the different moves. And Charizard coming out here with a signature fire punch! And that's going to most likely kill that Venonat in one hit. Yeah, alright, so that stab attack coming in. Charizard is actually very good in the Poke Cup just because he gets 2 really good stabs, gets that wing attack and that fire punch. Very good moves. And yes, so this game is very nostalgic, but I never could beat it. Same for the first Pokemon Stadium, but at the time, this is my first introduction to 100 new Pokemon. I never even knew about, at the time, the anime series hadn't been updated yet. The only second generation Pokemon we knew about was Togekiss, and well, it's not really the coolest Pokemon in the world, after all. But, you know, and it's kind of just sentimental to me, and people really seem to enjoy my first Let's Play of Pokemon Stadium, so I might as well do the sequel. The issue is, the challenges get a little crazy towards the end, and, you know, in the very beginning, this guy just has 3 bug types. Not really too big of a deal versus our fully evolved Charizard, but I think we'll be okay in the later segments, and yeah, Charizard basically just swept through. What? It has 16 HP? It's a Ladybug. It is literally like punching a paper bag. Charizard, what are you doing, man? I'm telling you what he's not doing. He's not killing the stinking Ladybug fast enough, because I want to get at least 4 battles in an episode. I think that's pretty fair. Maybe we can squeeze in a couple more, but I don't know. The thing is, the Gym Leader Castle this time around is much larger than it is in, well, the first Pokemon Stadium. So it's kind of have to do a little weird pacing, but all in all, this game is a definite boost to the Pokemon Stadium franchise, and I really wish they kept it going, but the next entry in the series technically was Pokemon Battle Revolution. Not really a fan of that one. And here we have the badges, the Zephyr badge, Hive badge, Plain badge, and Fog badge. Yeah, not really a fan of the gradient they use there. It's kind of weird, just where the text is. Looks just kind of odd. And our second battle versus a swimmer. Hi-yo! Summer means the beach, and Pokemon means battle. Let's do it. You gotta deal... Hey, Bruce, you're in this game! Oh, and you're apparently a swimmer. That's interesting. This guy's got a ton of water-type Pokemon, so we're going to bust out our Raikou, and definitely not Charizard. I'll use Kadabra, and maybe Hitmontop. I think that'll be good. Raikou will most likely sweep through this entire team. Raikou? I hope I'm saying that right. Sometimes people call him Raikou, but I don't think that's correct, because he sounds like cow, and that sounds a little weird. And there he is, the legendary... I want to call him a dog, but people always say that's wrong, so I guess I should call him a beast, since Suicune doesn't really look like a dog. The other two do, though. And this guy sent out his Wilmer. Whirlmer? Whalmer? No, that wasn't invented yet, so I guess it's not that. And Raikou is an extremely fast Pokemon. His Spark may not be the most damaging electric attack, but it does have 100% accuracy, and has decent power, so that's going to knock it out. And man, I better save... What's the word I'm looking for? I better savor the moment right now, because later on, this series just gets super stinking hard, and I gotta strategize like crazy. And oh no, Goldeen! Please don't use your horn and peck me on the head. That is hands down the weirdest fish-type Pokemon. Not fish-type. Fish Pokemon. Wow, crit, that was kind of overkill. It just has a horn on its head. That's like the entire... It's nothing special, it's just... Look at the swimmer's just like... Well... I may have made a mistake there. Their expressions are actually pretty cool this time. The Ken Sugimori inspired art. I don't really think that was drawn by Ken. It really doesn't look like his style, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just the N64 pixelating it to crap. And the third Spark is most likely going to connect and completely destroy this Remoraid, who is actually level 51. That's another thing about this game that I'm not too big of a fan of. The enemy's Pokemon can be higher level than yours despite them being rentals. Not a fan of that, but at the end of the day, Raikou completely obliterated all of them, so I shouldn't really be complaining all that much. And alright, we got our second perfect. I don't think I talked about that yet, but if you're new to Pokemon Stadium, the battle in which you just don't lose any of your Pokemon you get to continue for. Don't know why I kind of stutter there. Doesn't really matter. Let's move on and try and get our plain badge next, which will it's kind of, it's plain. That's the best way I can describe it, man. We got this Chester bro going on with a ton of rock and fighting, and actually he has one fighting type, and he has a bunch of ground types. That sounds like Azumarill's territory. Donphan can definitely take down those rock types, and Hitmontop can too, so this team is actually entirely based off second generation Pokemon, so that's kind of cool. Now let's actually talk about the stadiums that we battle in. Me personally, environment design in video games is one of the things I love the most. Just memorable areas will always sit with me, almost forever. And wow, this Azumarill actually has a ton of HP. Those who don't know, Azumarill may be kind of slow, but it packs a powerful punch, I'll tell you that. It has pretty decent physical attacks too, but this waterfall, it could come from a stinking Caterpie, which Caterpie doesn't learn waterfall. I know that. You don't have to point that out to me. But yeah, anything could basically hit that Graveler with a water-type move, and it most likely would have died, so I guess we shouldn't be boasting on Azumarill stats right now. And oh no, it's a hit! High Chop? High Chop? Uh-huh. Well, pretty much the best move we got here is Waterfall. It's not nearly as strong as Surf, but hey, it's a stab move, and it's going to do pretty decent damage. I just like the way Waterfall functions. If you really think about it, I think it has a different translation in Japanese, but moves like Rock Climb and Waterfall always really confused me. How is going up a waterfall going to damage me? How is you climbing rocks going to affect me negatively? I never really got that. Well, then again, they are HM moves, so I guess they just name them that to make sense. In the overworld of Pokemon, and that is a solid 2-hit KO on that Machop. Get out of here, boy! Put some clothes on, man! You naked! Oh! You're probably gonna see some of my, how do I want to say it? More zany, crazy commentary here, because this game truly brings out the inner child in me. And I like that. I like that about games from my childhood, you know? They make me just go back to simpler times and just sitting down playing Poggleman. And having an awesome time. And oh no, a Sandstorm from a level 53 Onix. It's probably not going to save you, buddy, for those who don't know. Sandstorm boosts the defense of some, I believe, rock types. I don't think it's ground. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's rock types. It increases their defense, but not enough to truly matter. And that is this is almost boring. Please, guys, do not be fooled. This game gets vastly more difficult. Heck, towards the end of this cup, it will most likely get more difficult. Teams are not going to always have just a mono-type team and just lose horribly. Things get pretty tough, not going to lie. And alright, our next badge. The plain badge is just so... It's so lame. Why do they make it that? I don't know. I think this might have the worst design for... No, because the next badge is definitely really stinking cool. Oh my gosh, my favorite archetype for trainers ever. The Super Nerd. The Super Nerd's team is actually pretty stinking strong. Look at that. He's even got a Porygon. I always liked Porygon. Just thought it was a mysterious, you know. No one ever understood its true potential, you know. You feel me? Probably not. It doesn't matter. We're going to be using Donphan, Charizard, and Hitmontop this time around. Just because Hitmontop hasn't got any screen time, but he will soon, trust me. And he's actually a force to be reckoned with. Anyways, we're going to start off this battle with one of my favorite Pokemon from the second generation, Donphan, who is an elephant. Pretty stinking cool. He's also a ground type. And their first Pokemon is going to be Haunter. Those who don't know, Haunter, this generation doesn't actually have that levitate ability that people covet ever so much. And this Earthquake is going to hit it. I don't care if you do 50 damage to me, man. You're dead next turn, man. You got paper-thin defenses. Literally paper. Think of paper, how thin it is. Now make it even thinner. That is Haunter's defenses. And that's a solid one-hit KO. Donphan and its pre-evolution Phanpy are super stinking strong in this game. I believe both of them have Earthquake in the little cup and this cup, so you may be seeing a lot of Donphan in future episodes, but I think you'll be okay with that. I hope you'll be okay with that. And yes, this is pretty much a Sonic Boom. Man, you ain't Guile's thing. Get out of here. That does literally 20 damage. Not too great. Donphan's defenses are also really stinking good, so any physical attacks are pretty much just going to bounce straight off me. Despite you being 5 levels higher than me, this should be a solid one-hit KO. Yeah, there we go. That Electrode did not have a chance. I actually really like Electrode. It sounds so stupid, but I wish he kind of did have an evolution. I don't know. He deserves some love, man. He's just this really, I don't know. People would always bash on like the object Pokemon, for lack of a better term, like Magneton and, well, Electrode. You know, they're just objects, not animals. But I kind of like that, you know? We shouldn't just limit Pokemon to just, like, animals. Speaking of animals, though, new Pokemon here. It's a Flaffy? Yeah, it's Flaffy. I really like Flaffy, too. It's so pink and adorable. I'm just kidding. Actually, I kind of like Mareep the best. That sounds a little weird, but I don't know. It's just a little sheep, and it's all fluffy and stuff. Ampharos is cool too, but you can't beat the sheer adorableness of a Mareep. And that is it, guys. The first half of Poke Cup. Join me in the next episode where we take on the remainder of, well, the first round of Pokemon Stadium 2. Really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see me in the next one, where we go for the Storm Badge, and the Mineral Badge, and the Glacier Badge, and the Rising Badge. Duh! So yeah, see you guys then. Bye.